Thanks for bringing this up because this is actually a great example to show just differences in labeling regulations between different countries. So this is the UK Oreo ingredient label, and this is the US Oreo ingredient label. They look a little bit different, but they are very similar just because we have to label things differently. All right, so you see in the UK version, it just says wheat flour, whereas in the US version, it says unbleached enriched flour, and then it has to list out all of the vitamins and minerals that are added into that flour. In the UK, actually, non-whole meal wheat flour is required to be fortified, but they don't have to list out the vitamins and minerals because it's just implied that it's fortified if it's not wholemeal wheat flour. So in the UK, this flour would have to be fortified with thiamine, niacin, calcium carbonate, iron, and folic acid. Again, they just don't have to be listed. In the UK version, we have palm oil and rapeseed oil. In the US, it's palm and or canola oil. In the UK, they list canola oil as rapeseed oil, but it is the same thing. In the US, the cocoa powder is listed as cocoa processed with alkali. In the UK, you'll see that it's fat-reduced cocoa powder, but then down here they say acidity regulator, which is sodium hydroxide. So that's the alkalizing agent in this cocoa powder. So it's alkalized cocoa powder, but those two things have to be listed separately, so it's not listed the same way. But it is alkalized cocoa powder, just as in the US. In the US, of course, we have the high fructose corn syrup. In the UK, high fructose corn syrup is not labeled that way. It's labeled as glucose fructose syrup. There are a few minor differences. So after the wheat flour and the oils, we have wheat starch and then the glucose fructose syrup in the UK version. In the US version, we have the flour and then we have sugar and then the oils and then the high fructose corn syrup. So just a difference between sugar and wheat starch, but since that's the second and third ingredient, and then this is the second and fourth ingredient, and ends up being a similar amount of carbohydrates and sugar in both of them. I think the US one is 2 grams of carbohydrates more per 3 cookies and 1 gram of sugar more per 3 cookies, but otherwise they're pretty similar nutritionally. And then we have leavening agents in both of them, salt, soy lecithin, and flavors. So really, these aren't much different, and the nutrition info for both of these are very similar as well. Chocolate is another ingredient in the US version, which is not in the UK version. So this is why the ingredient labels between different countries can look quite different, even though the products are very similar. There are a lot of instances where the products are going to be different formulations for different countries as well, just due to different taste preferences, different ingredient availabilities in different countries and things like that. But something like this is very similar.